Hi folks, my name is Richard Avery with Titanium Computing, and today we're going to talk about backups. Listen, I tell my people that there's a very small list of rules that they are required to follow, things that they're really in their job role, and backups is so high on that list. As a matter of fact, it's critical. You would probably rather have backups that were working and verified than almost anything else working inside your organization. Sure, as long as you're making money, those things are critical. But if you had a printer that didn't work, or one user that couldn't log on, or other things, and you were like, you know what, but I know my backups are good, you might view certain tactics of your IT company differently. So I can't tell you the number of times I've come into an environment and their backups were failing. And their backups were failing for a long time. The worst, most egregious I had recently, there were screenshot. It would pop up. It would tell the user that you didn't have a backup for 862 days. It was amazing to see that. It was like, man, like, do you even have, and you supposedly have somebody managing you? That's just ridiculous. So, what is a good backup scenario? And why do you need to do it? So, first off, a hard drive plugged into a server is not a backup. So, let's take a quick journey through ransomware world. Right? I've managed to get your users to click on a link. I've managed to get Pi your antivirus. I've pivoted from the device, and they have map shares on the server, and I hit the server, and I start encrypting, and I manage to, let's say you've got something that's not patched, and boom, I'm encrypting all your data. But my script also looks for backup files, because there's only like 10 known backup files in the world. And I just delete them all. Yay! Deleted all your backups. Because the drive was plugged in. Hard drives plugged into servers are not backups. So, and I run into this so often. So, what do you need as a backup? You have to have an on-site backup and a cloud backup or an off-site backup. I have heard over and over and over and over again, I don't trust the cloud. Great. You can not trust the cloud all you want. Encrypt the backup. Put a password on the backup. Secure the backup before you send it up to the cloud. That's fine. As a matter of fact, that's a best practice. That's a good thing to be doing. But you still need to have that backup off-site. 2 backups on-site, 1 backup off-site. Minimum. You should have 3 backups. Now, why 3? Well, maybe one goes corrupt. I've seen it. People just overwrite the old backup with a new backup. It goes corrupt when they go to restore it. Oh, you really don't have a backup then, do you? So that's always the crux of the problem. They only check their backups when they need them. We're human. We're fallible. If I asked people if they had jumper cables in their car, or a tire iron, or a jack, not everybody even knows what they have in their car in an emergency situation. Not everybody understands what they've got and what they need when they're going to go use it. So those concepts apply to backups. If you haven't tested your backup, you should not count on it. In the world of cybersecurity, in the world of IT, in the world of military contracting, there's a great line that I've kind of taken to heart. I didn't realize that it was so easily to encompass it in a straight statement. It's from Darren Kitchen at Hack 5. One is none. And when he said that, while I was watching one of his videos, because he was traveling, I think, to Thailand on one of his Hack Around the World presentations. One is none is a great concept. Because I used to go to Iraq and Afghanistan and Germany. I would fly all around the world as a military contractor. One is none That's really the way it should be. And I can't tell you how adopting that philosophy has helped me in so many situations. I don't go to a customer site with just one laptop. I don't go anywhere with just one phone. I keep duplicates of everything that is critical to me because I don't want to be in a situation where I need it and I don't have it. And that's the concept of your backups. You're only going to go look at your backups when you need it. Make sure your backups work. Please. It's required in military setting. It's required in your NIST compliance, National Institutes of Standards and Technologies. That means that if you are a government contracting organization or a healthcare organization, you are required. It's a federal control system. HIPAA is that federal control system. If you have not ever tested your backups, you are immediately not compliant, and that is probably going to be a $500,000 fine. And the reason you might get fined is because you didn't have good backups, and you had to report the outage because of the ransomware, and you're in this problem in the first place because you didn't have good backups. So not only would you get fined for not having good backups, but the only reason they're going to find out about it to fine you is because you didn't have good backups. So it's this scenario where it feeds itself your own punishment. These are the consequences of my own actions coming back to haunt me. So when those moments occur, you should have already tested your backups. You should have a team. You should have a desk, a tabletop exercise that says we're going to pretend our building blew up. Right? This is why you have the offsite backup. Right? If you have everything on site, your building catches fire, you're done. I used to do work up in New York before I moved down here. It's Texas. And that, I used tried to use a backup, offsite backups for a automotive shop that was a customer of mine. I would trade mechanic work for IT work. And they just refused to do backups offsite. Refused. Just adamantly refused. And eventually, something horrible happened. Their entire shop caught fire. You can imagine trying to put a fire out at an automotive car mechanic. It doesn't happen. I have friends of mine who are firefighters, and they're like, we just let that burn. Right? We know there's oil in there. We know there's gasoline. We know there's oily rags. We know that is like one of the worst places to just catch fire, and we just watch it burn to the ground. Okay, cool. Well, they didn't have backups offsite. They lost all their papers. They lost all their machines. They had nothing. They had a big insurance claim. They claimed their whole business, and they retired. And they thought that was going to be the end of it. Until the IRS came knocking. When the IRS came knocking, the IRS wanted very specific paperwork and very specific receipts and very specific documentation, and they didn't have any. That $10 million insurance payout turned into $4 million because they had to pay so much to the IRS because they couldn't prove anything. So it's not just a continuity of operations or a backup disaster recovery. It might be a financial damage that you're trying to prevent in case of things. Backups are critical. So now let's talk about the shadiness of IT companies. Right? There's a lot of great IT companies out there. I'm not painting with a broad brush. I'm painting with a 50% brush. IT companies, on the whole, typically try to minimize their costs. And that means they might be using software that's not that great or systems that are not that great. When your backups are being managed by somebody else, you should ask occasionally for a screenshot of those backups. What do you have? Show it to me. And you ask that question in a way that is not direct. Don't ask, hey, are our backups okay? Because the answer is always yes. Yeah, your backups are fine. You're good. Everything's good. When they're not, right? Ask for a screenshot. Ask for when was the last time you took a backup? When was the last time we tested that backup? And I need a screenshot of it for insurance purposes, right? Don't tell them that you just want to look, because then it might not get responded to in a timely fashion. And you need to say a screenshot, not a log that's editable in a Word document or a notepad, a screenshot. My insurance company is asking for a screenshot. And it needs to clearly identify my business, clearly identify the day of backups, and I need to show backups for the last 2 weeks. And tell them I don't care if 1 or 2 of them have failed, as long as most of them have been successful, and then we can talk about later if there's something else going on. If you ask for that and you don't get a response rather quickly, a day or 2, something's going on. Then you need to push a little bit harder and say, I really need this. Right, I'm getting a $250,000, $1 million cybersecurity liability policy, something. And then it takes longer still. That means you don't have any backups. And now they're trying to implement backups for you. And they're trying to build a history because you're asking for 2 weeks. They're going to try to push you off for 2 weeks. So be aware of the tactics that IT companies and MSPs use. I also recommend that you have a backup yourself of your business every year in a safe deposit box. Away from your home, away from your business, away from everything. Isolated, protected, out of the way. Hopefully this conversation on backups has been useful. Hopefully it's been enlightening. Again, 2 on-site, 1 off-site. Encrypt it, back it up, password protect it, and secure it. Don't have those sitting on a shelf where some guy can run in and grab the backup and leave. He just stole your whole business. You just had a breach. So, you got to treat those things as sensitive as you possibly can. Thanks a lot. Hope you have a great day. What? Yes, please.